Today, we're going to talk about financial trauma. A couple of episodes ago, I talked about dating while desperate and I talked about financial desperation. And niliguzia kidogo about how not being financially stable or financially confident in yourself can land you in situations where you're staying for the wrong reasons and desperate nothing good ever comes out of desperation. So it's really important to heal yourself even financially so that you can start to enjoy not only your relationship with everything and everyone around you, but also, especially, your relationship with money. So, I like to talk about money these days, especially because I realize this is not a topic that is just like sex. It's not a topic that Africans are very open about. When I get to mingle with people from different cultures, especially outside of Africa, I realize that the way they discuss money and the way how money is such a household name, how discussions around money are so welcomed. It made me realize that missing out on being able to have the confidence to have such conversations was making me not improve my relationship with money as well. And this is something we don't really think about. We talk about other things, sazingine ata sex more than money. But when you heal wholesomely, including your financial side, you're definitely able to enjoy sex. There's nothing better than having enough money in your account or just having whatever that means for you, whether it's just having your bills paid or having something extra or being extremely wealthy or just having enough to take care of yourself for the day. Whatever stability means to you and looks like for you, it's important you get to heal this side of you so that you can enjoy the sexual relationship as well. And I'll talk to you in a bit about how this ties into sex. It's because I also always say that if how we do one thing is how we do everything. So if you find these issues in one aspect of your life, it's time to look at to look at the to go back to the drawing board and try to figure out, what am I missing? What am I not doing? What is lacking here that is affecting this other side? So, Mimi, I grew up in I could say, middle class family because I went to really, really good schools. I always had everything I needed. I always was enrolled in extracurricular activities. I was able to travel, just do basic stuff. We weren't hatukukua rich, but like my mom really held the home down. She was able to provide everything that we ever needed. I don't remember ever lacking anything or missing anything, especially my basic needs. My mom really, really took care of us. So we weren't poor. But even in this situation, there was always a lot of fear about money. And I was talking to a friend of mine who grew up in a similar situation as me, and we were just comparing notes. And that discussion is what prompted me to record this episode because I realized that yani two conversations around money are not had that often, and this is something we need to change, especially the emotional side to it, psychological side to it, just everything and how it seeps into other aspects of our lives. So in my home, we hardly had any open financial discussions. So this meant that we didn't have any financial literacy. And I interviewed my mom about a week ago on the Jagero podcast, and I like that she brought this up. I asked her, what is the one thing that you feel you could change or you could do better in your parenting, in your motherhood? And she said she wishes she had more discussions about money with us because she sees how it has affected us as her kids and how we have a very, very fearful attachment to money. It's just a lot of anxiety and fear around money. I like that she's very aware of that because of course I had already thought about all that, but for her to answer it, it made me excited, and it also pushed me to want to record this episode even more. We had no financial literacy. My dad was a banker. He was a very senior guy in the banking environment. He was around money and stuff, but this guy just had no education for us about money. There is no day we ever talked about money. The only time we ever discussed money was when my parents were complaining about stuff, about how much things costed and how everything was expensive and how we were so expensive and how our needs were so expensive and how keeping the light on was expensive and food was expensive and na, 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 na. So everything about money just screams fear to me. I grew up fearing money, fearing the fights money brought about in my home, Money was always the cause of the issues. My parents would fight about money, they would fight about the lack of money. And this is how my relationship with money was being formed from a very, very, very early age. So even in the settings I was in, like in school or in church, I went to church with really, really rich people who went to who lived in very nice environments and went to really, really good like way better schools. And I always lied about where I was from and what I did because that was the only way to fit in. I used to get really, really jealous, and I used to feel like I'd be left out. Kids are a bit meaner than adults. I think. I think I was bullied more when I was younger than I am now. And so I was always afraid of being left out. And this would lead me to start trying to find ways to fit in. And not only would I lie, I would also steal. So my dad, I hope he doesn't listen to this episode, but my dad used to have a lot of money. He used to have money in his wallet, and I was very sure he never knew how much he had because I would steal. This is when I was 6 years, is it 7 years old, 11, 8 years old, all the way to maybe in my teenagehood. Every day I would steal 1,000 shillings from my dad's wallet. This is around about, let's say, $10. I used to steal $10 from my dad, and those days that was a lot of money. You could do a lot of things with 1,000 bob. 1,000 bob could easily last you at a Sijui. For context, we used to do shopping for our house for like 4K, 5K, sometimes 3K. So imagine 1,000 shillings for a 6, 7-year-old kid. Those are the days we used to be given 10 bob, 50 bob ikienda sana. Ata if you're given 100 bob, you would wonder what to do with such money. So 1,000, it was really big. But I used to steal 1,000 bob a day, every day from my dad's wallet. He never noticed. He never saw there was a difference. He never once confronted me. He never once brought it up at home. I don't know if he ever noticed someone was stealing from him. I really don't know, but alikuwa na bunda. So he had a lot of money in his wallet, too much money for him to ever notice. And I did this for so many years. And this is how I developed my relationships with saving my money, investing my money, trusting my money, and such a fucked up way to learn about money. But having money for myself is what taught me. I was able to buy myself my first smartphone when I was like 12, 8, was it 8 years old or 12 years old? And it was a lot of money. It was like 8,000 bob. And those days, if that phone was even more expensive than the phone my parents were using. It wasn't even a smartphone. Ilikuwa zile za buttons. It was a Nokia something, 8100 or something, but it was a really fancy phone. And of course, my mother was wondering where I would get such money from, considering in our home, they were always complaining about money. But mimi nilikuwa nishaanza kujipanga. I would put money away because sometimes my parents had to work a lot and I was always in the home with my brother. So we had to I had to learn how to start taking care of him, making sure there's food in the house, there's stuff being taken care of. And remember, I was 8 years old, eight. But my responsibility was the home, showing up as a provider and protector for my little brother. Crazy. While this situation really, really traumatized me, and some of the trauma responses I built from that are things I'm experiencing till now, 20 years later. I think there was also learning points for me because while I was doing things I shouldn't have been doing, like stealing and lying, I was also teaching myself how to be financially literate in my own little way. So I've always been a really, really, really great saver, but not a great investor. Because remember, investing was never a discussion in our house. Me, I just used to bank on if my dad comes with his wallet, I've got to get some money for myself. And I saw my mom do it all. I saw my mom be a very independent woman. There's a time she didn't have a job, but she had to quit so that she could go back to school. She had two young kids who were in very expensive primary schools. She was paying rent because we had just split from my dad, out of my dad's home. She was paying rent, she was paying school fees plus extracurricular plus the nanny plus everything we ever needed. My mom grew us up in, I could say, our own little luxury, because everything we had, we got everything we needed. There's nothing my mom didn't do for us. And seeing her show up like this and rebuild over and over and over, even when she had nothing, I think that's what really largely gave me the spirit of independence and being able to understand that I have to depend on myself and to take care of myself no matter what. But the issue with this is the negative effects that came from this was I became a hoarder. My mom is a hoarder naturally, like with stuff. We're always fighting about when it's time to declutter. But for me, I don't keep stuff, I don't hold on to stuff, but money, I will hold on to money till the end. So I became a money hoarder. And instead of understanding that money is energy and you have to let it circulate, it has to go to someone else's hands so that it can come back to you. And that's just how money travels. The scarcity mindset and fear of always feeling like if I let go of this money, it will never come back, I'll never get it back. Itaisha, it's going to be over in no time, and then I'll remain without any money. That fear, it really, really messed me up. I have a lot of fear and anxiety when it comes to money, and it cripples me. And most of the times when this feeling comes is when it's about to be end month and my bills are coming up, and there's all these bills: Netflix, DSTV, CG blog, website, rent, water, stima, internet, phone, chama, kuchangia watu, kusaidia sijui nani, my mom, clothes, shoes, Uber, blah 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 blah. My little brother, sijui perfume, make. Oh my god, I get so anxious because I start feeling like all the money is going to be taken from me and it's going to be over. And you see, the thing with this fear is it doesn't really matter how much money I have in the bank. I could have millions, but the anxiety is still consistent. And this is because I've had 20 years of overloading my nervous system with this anxiety. And now it's like it's something I have to start unlearning actively. It's not something I can wish away, it's something I have to be very intentional about. I'm happy that I have the words to be able to explain this because I talk to my friends about it and I see a lot of people around me who have less than me, but they're always willing to share and willing to give. And it does something to my brain. It makes me ask myself, how can she have nothing but still be willing to give me the last? And me, I have so much and I'm so scared that it'll end. Where what is wrong? It's just a crippling fear that I really, really struggle to handle. Something positive that came out of this is that it pushed me to try and have multiple sources of income so that my money is not coming from one place. I have multiple places, that multiple pools of money that I can always fall back on in case I'm afraid or in case I feel like I'm losing. But you see, like I said, the thing with this fear is it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if I have 100 million bob coming in every second. The fear is still there. That's why the fear is not a money thing. The fear is a very psychological thing. It's an emotional thing. It's something I have to work on within myself so that I'm able to enjoy money and improve my relationship with money. For this, I've had to do consistent affirmations because, to be honest, poverty really gives me anxiety. There's a video of mine that was trending where I was saying I don't like using matatus, and it's things that like that remind me like enyewe poverty is around the corner. Because my reasons for hating matatus are very, very financial. It has nothing to do with like personal feelings towards anyone or towards the industry or anything. It just gives me fear. Another fear I really, really have is this one. I noticed I noticed anytime my brother stays over at my place, he says his favorite thing to do is shower at my house, and I'll tell you why. So another fear I have is like when I lived at home, my parents would complain about the electricity all the time. At night, we had to switch off the lights really, really early. You can't use the microwave past a certain point in time because everyone has to eat when the food is hot so that no one keeps rewarming the food so that we're not wasting electricity. You sleep earlier because you have to. Mimi, I'm someone who sometimes I enjoy working through the night and then I'll sleep during the day. So it used to mess me up because I can't stay up during the night anymore because the lights have to be off. She'll ask me, why didn't you use the natural light during the day? And the worst of them is in the shower. the number of times steamer iliniishia when I was showering and the lights would go off because the light bill, because of the light bill, because the tokens would run out. That thing traumatizes me. And I make sure in my house that I've paid the light bill for even months on end because it's something I still fear. Imagine it's like 3 years since I moved out. And anytime I'm in the shower, I think about what if I'm washing my face and there's soap in my face and the water just turns cold. Such things still traumatize me. It seems like a little thing, but to hear my brother say it means it's valid. It's not, I'm not being irrational for having these fears. My biggest goal in life has always been to chase comfort and peace. And this has forced me to start believing in myself and believing in my abilities because it is me who's able to work on getting these multiple streams of income to make sure that I can take care of myself. And being able to take care of myself has also helped me raise my standards because I can't allow anyone else to be in my life that does not care for me. I already care really deeply for myself. So if anyone is trying to like lie or waste my time, let me call someone out. There's this guy. We talked and we decided instead of me asking him for money, sprinkle, sprinkle, we were dating. This was his suggestion, not mine. Instead of me asking him for money, he can do like a standing order where every weekly the money just is transferred to me. And I said, okay, cool. That makes it easier for me. I don't have to ask you. You don't have to keep, feeling like I'm asking you. Remember, this was his suggestion. So he does it first, the first week, the second week, the third week. Sometimes he would even send me more than he had agreed. There's times he would even send me like a lot more. And there's times he would just not do anything about it. He would either sijui kama ni kusahau ama tu ni kutojisikia ama ni sijui hajisikii. And I told him, listen, this is a consistency and communication thing. It's not a money thing. I can make my own money, I can pay my own bills, I can do my things for myself. But if you're coming into my life and you're making promises and you're saying, hey, I'm gonna take care of this, and you say you don't need to remind me, Kwanza, you come with the solution, the suggestion. I didn't get it out of him. He said it himself. And then you start slacking. What that does to me is that it tells me you don't care. You don't care about the consistency anymore. You don't care to communicate because it's an open discussion. It's a relationship. It's open for you to be able to tell me, hey, Bobby, this week I don't have any money. I'm not able to blah, 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 blah. And that's perfect because it shows me your understanding that we're fixing our relationship by being very open and communicative with each other. It's not really an entitlement thing, Ati. Why didn't you send me the money you said you'll send me? Nah. It's just, I get it. Like life happens, things happen. I communicated that when he promises things and then he fails to meet his promises and then he doesn't discuss it with me, he doesn't bring it up, he doesn't tell me what's happening or he doesn't address it directly, it makes me feel unloved and unwanted and uncared for. And so I told him, so this is a discussion we had so many times before. So by the time he was doing it for the last time, I just told him, this is not a discussion I want to have. I don't want to talk about money I can make for myself in an hour that you want me to look like I'm begging for you. I'm begging you to give it to me the whole week because you forgot to fulfill the promises you made to me. It just makes me feel like, nah, that's not the kind of relationship I want because I keep my word to myself. If I tell myself I'm going to do something, I always show up for myself. I always do it for myself. And I can. I can without him being in my life or being in any sort of relationship with him. So you see, holding myself to such a standard, it helps me watch for people's actions around me. The things they say, the promises they make, the lies they tell, the pretense, the lack of communication, consistency, the show that the lack of care, all that I'm able to see it even before we go far. So me for myself, I'm chasing comfort and peace and I believe in myself. And it helps me stay very confident in myself. I've had to understand that money goes and comes back, and there's so much abundance to go around. Isha haimanishi imeisha kabisa. There's so much money all over that you could receive money from anywhere, anytime, any day. Once you start understanding that money can come from anywhere, you stop looking at the source or you stop, and I don't mean that if it's blood money or wash money. That's not, I mean it. I'm speaking about it in a spiritual sense. You could wake up and have no money, and then your mom sends you some money, like, hey, pay your rent. or your boyfriend sends you some money, or someone from an, like last week, I had this bill to pay and it was giving me a little bit of stress. Do you know, I went to bed just saying, I don't know how I'm going to pay that bill, but it's fine. When I woke up the next day, a job I had done months ago, I had even forgot about it. They sent me a check. They sent me some money and said, can you remember you did this? Nini, nini, nini. This is the money we made from it. Here's the money. I got the money. I wasn't even expecting the payment to come in because it's something I had forgot about. So you have to release the obsession with where the money is coming from. Sometimes money could literally come from anywhere, and you just need to trust yourself and have this abundance mindset of knowing there's no scarcity around money. There's enough abundance to go around for everyone. Poverty is something that really messes up with your mind. And listen, poverty is not even about money. It's a mindset thing. It's the way you see yourself, the way you receive yourself, the way you show up in life, the way you trust yourself, the things you say, the way you speak, the things you talk about is what keeps you in a poverty mindset. And you need to understand that life can change at any point. You could be maskini hohehahe today, and tomorrow you could be a literal millionaire. It happens all the time. You owe it to yourself to be your best self in all ways, and this includes financially. You need to teach yourself to receive without having anxiety and without also having anxiety about the source. You deserve wealth, you deserve to be rich, and being your best self means being your best self in all ways. You need to look good, feel good, smell amazing, have money. All these things are, they're all the same. They're the same thing because it's a mindset thing. It's not a money thing. When you take care of yourself and you love yourself more, you understand that you also deserve wealth. Wealth is not something that's set aside for a certain type of people. It's something anyone can acquire any day, anytime. Once you decide it for yourself in your head and you understand that there's a lot of abundance to go around for everyone, it really changes your life. Teach yourself to receive and keep and money, and to keep money, and to let go of money. Do not hoard. Do not be a hoarder like me. Do not hide money thinking, with a fear mindset that this is all gonna end. Amai Taisha. Give to receive. Receive to give. Teach yourself to be at peace with money. Something I tell people is treat money like it's your lover. The way you speak about her, the way you talk to her, the way you touch her, you have to be gentle and kind and forgiving and sweet. Because if you're consistently anxious, worried, scared, angry, stingy, hoarding, riddled with anxiety, if you treat your lover like that, she leaves you alone. She's not going to stick around. Money is energy and you have to respect it. You deserve wealth and you can achieve it, remember, at any day, any time. And wealth is just a mindset. Thoughts always become things. Make sure the things you say to yourself and the way you perceive yourself is showing up in a very, very wealthy mindset. You need to trust yourself so that you can heal your financial trauma, so that you can take care of yourself and allow yourself to receive from everywhere in the universe. I'm glad I got to talk about this because it's something a lot of people go through. It's a fear, it's a real fear that people have. And it's something I'm trying to teach myself while I teach my mother as well, so that we can be able to enjoy money a little bit better. And if you're going through this financial traumas, I see you, I hear you. I know it's difficult, and I know some people might not be able to understand. Sometimes you might even show up as a stingy person, as a selfish person, but understand that there's stages and levels in growth, and I see you and I understand you completely. Your fear for money is something you can definitely work on. You just need to be able to be honest with the people around you so that they get it and they understand you. Maybe they can help you a bit better in dealing with the money. And if not, feel free to reach out to me. I give one on one session talks about personal growth, intimacy, and of course, sex. So hit me up. Let's talk. Let's have a one on one session and let's heal these parts of us together. Thank you so much for listening. Don't forget to watch me every Tuesday on the Daybreak Show, where we talk about social issues and relationships, and read my blog, Love and Orgasms, where I talk about sex. Toodles!